Today is May 15th, 2014, and I am, 3.5 months on T, pretty much. 3.5 months. Congratulations, me. Huh? Yeah. I don't really want to make this video. I don't know. I don't want to make this video because there's just like so much to talk about, I feel like, every time. Or like, there's not a lot to talk about, or like, I just have to get so deep into it. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make this video. I presented on a panel today at one of the local colleges, and I do a lot of education, like community education, but I'm generally not talking about myself. I'm kind of talking broadly about concepts. But today it was one of those like share your personal experiences kind of panel. And so I went and did that, and it was pretty good. I mean, those are always kind of interesting because it's hard to choose which stories to tell and which stories not to tell. Gotta change the angle. Is this? Let's work on my abs. This is a much more attractive angle, I think. So, it's hard to choose which stories to tell and which not to tell. Jackson, don't leave. Because life is so complex. And this journey has been complex. And I struggle to tell stories of, like, the continuity of my story from, like, when I was a child. Or do I start when I change my pronouns? Or what do people want to hear about? What is actually like a realistic depiction of my experience? My eyes look really buggy. I'm bugging out. Look at the bags under my eyes. Is that just the light? That's not much more attractive than the last angle. But yeah, I don't know. I chose the stories I told in the moment, and I'm sure it was fine. I mean, I think I have to get over this feeling of like wanting people to like truly understand what my experience is like, and just tell little bits and hope that it helps them learn about people who have different experiences than them, and helps them accept trans folks and trans experience as like a way to live in this world, a way that some people live in this world. One thing that happened that actually really bugs me, right? Angle number 4. And I'm not sure why it really bugged me, and I actually need to do some writing on this because it really bugged me. And it's come up repeatedly now. And so I feel like I have to do some thinking around like what this question is getting at. But one of the students came up to me afterwards and asked me a question around, she said, "Why do you care so much what people think?" And I was like, wait, what? Like, where did you get that out of my story? And one of the other panelists had kind of gone on about not caring what other people think, kind of in the context of like being able to cope. She had gotten kind of shit on by a lot of her family members, and a lot of her friends had left her life when she transitioned, and she was kind of like saying that she had gotten at this point taking care of herself where she was like, I don't care what other people think. And she was like, the student who came up to me and was like, that other panelist said that she doesn't care what other people think. Why do you care so much what people think? And this was in the context of talking to me about correcting people on my pronouns. I had said that I chose my battles, that I don't correct everyone who misgenders me, but I choose my battles wisely so that I'm not exhausted, and so that I'm not talking about my gender in line at the grocery store with the clerk, right? Like, that's not something I want to have to do, and so that's not something I do. So, it was in the context of self-advocating, right, of standing up for myself when people misgender me, and that was really frustrating to hear because I feel like it's actually the exact opposite. That in this process, I have had to not care what people think in order to move forward. I actually have heard this question before, and I've heard it once before in the context of changing my name. When I changed my name, a family member of mine asked me why I care so much what people think, as if that's why I was changing my name, because I care so much what other people think. And that was really frustrating because what stopped me from changing my name for so long was, well, caring what other people think. My shoulder tastes good. um, yeah, so I mean, I had to really process, not, put what other people wanted for me behind me and away, and really prioritize what I wanted, what I needed to change my name, to change my pronouns. It's not easy to correct people on your pronouns, in terms of like caring what other people think. If I really cared what other people thought so much and was acting according to that and prioritizing that, then I probably wouldn't correct people on my pronouns. It's not like calling people out on their assumptions gets you a lot of popular points, right? I mean, if I really cared what people thought, I probably would just let them misgender me and go with the easier option. If I really cared what people thought, I probably wouldn't change my name, because it's not exactly something that, is something that other people were pressuring me to do or asking me to do, but actually the exact opposite. So that's really frustrating. It's a frustrating question, and I guess I'm not really sure why people see that, why people think that the things that I'm doing are because I care so much about what other people think. I think it's a misunderstanding. I mean, I have to think about this some more, but my initial thoughts around it is a misunderstanding by cis folks who have asked me this question around what it feels like to get misgendered, what it feels like to have a name that doesn't resonate with you, that isn't your name, to be referred to with pronouns and with language that sends alarm bells off in your head and just really makes you feel icky inside, right? And so I made the change because I felt shitty and I wanted that to stop happening, right? So I tried to do the example. I asked this student, I was like, well, I mean, what pronouns do you use? And she used she. I was like, imagine if you walked through the world and everyone used he for you all the time. But that's actually a pretty shitty example. Because what I found is that cis people cannot wrap their heads around that. This person said something along the lines of like, that wouldn't bother me. It's like, well, you clearly don't know what that feels like then. People want to be seen. All right, wait. Angle number 17. People want to be seen, right? People want to be seen for who they are. The question, why do you care so much what people think, is actually a little bit absurd, because we're social beings. We want to be seen by other people. That's how we walk through the world. And when your identity is not seen, when you're assumed to be somebody you're not and something that you're not, and it makes you feel really uncomfortable, you probably want to correct them on that, and you probably want to make some changes. Something also frustrating was that this question was coming to me and not being asked of this other person on the panel who had a binary identity, who was saying, I don't care what other people think. That being said, no judgment towards her. She was saying, I don't care what other people think, because she had gotten a lot of shit in her life for her trans identity. And she was saying, I don't care anymore. I'm going to do me. And so why was it that this person wondered why I cared so much what other people thought, but didn't see how what I was doing was related to what everyone else on the panel is doing, including the binary folks? Correcting people on your pronouns, changing your name. Transition means a lot of different things to different people, and that's not even a word I really use, but to talk about my own experience. But, just because for the sake of comparing mine and this other panelist's experience, why is my asking folks to respect my pronouns caring what other people think, but hers isn't? It almost felt like it was because she had a binary identity and that made sense to this student, Whereas like my non-binary identity was asking too much of people. Like that, of course, somebody wouldn't assume that I used they pronouns, and so correcting people is caring what they think. Whereas if somebody had a binary identity, correcting people on your binary pronouns is, I don't know, living authentically, or however. Now I'm just pissed. I don't know. This question has come up repeatedly, and I feel like I need to come up with an answer that really gets at what they're saying, because I don't understand where that question's coming from. And so I have to figure out what are they seeing? What is their point of view that makes my experience seem like I'm doing these things because I care so much what other people think? Because it's not my experience. It's not how I experience it. And I don't understand what they see. And I want to figure it out. Part of it is I want to figure out an answer that will make sense to them. And the funny part about that is that the reason I want that answer is because the question feels judgmental. The question of why do you care so much what other people think feels like it has judgment on it. And I want to shut that down because I don't want that person leaving thinking I care so much about what other people think. That is, I care what they think, and I don't want them to leave thinking that I care what other people think. I do care what other people think, but not necessarily related to this experience of mine. Actually, it's been something I've struggled with, to kind of shut that down, to at least put that on hold, or at least not prioritize what other people think over what I think and feel in this process, right? So that is something I struggle with. I do care what other people think. I don't see what's so wrong with that, first of all. I think, of course, we care what other people think. But when I correct someone on my pronouns, it's not because I want them to like my pronouns. It's because I want them to respect my pronouns. I don't really care if people like my identity. I want them to accept and respect my identity. And those are very different things. So maybe I'm misunderstanding what it means to care what other people think. But in my opinion, that means that I want people to like me. And when it comes to my identity, I've had to very much not give a shit about that so that I can live authentically. Alright, that's my rant. I'd be curious to hear if anyone else has gotten that question. And if so, where that question is coming from and how you relate to it. Because it's frustrating. It left me angry. I left there pissed off. And I didn't show it to her, but it's just been sitting with me all day. So that was a little less around physical updates and more kind of frustrations with social transition and questions from people who just don't get it. But that's all for now, I think. Signing off. 3.5 months on T. Take care, y'all.